Make your first drug. Let's make our first drug. Top right wall is the import socket. Oh, hey, here's Brian. Brian's coming in.
Brian's
now we can.
The worst. Oh, hi, Brian.
Now we can actually. We actually played Broforce for about half an hour. And
awesome substitute.
So now I was going to start the tutorial, but man, is it a wordy tutorial. So it's much better to have you in here.
Yeah. The tutorial process for Big Pharma is not great. It spends like 3 hours and 6 missions teaching you how all the mechanics work.
Yeah.
If you just want to like pick a beginner scenario.
Yeah, let's do that.
If it's one that's
bottom line,
is one of them just earn a bunch of money?
Yes.
Do that one.
All right, let's do that one.
Okay.
Do you want to have a seat at the controls, or do you want to sit next to us, or what do you want to do here?
Do you want me to talk more or do more?
Talk more.
Then you should be at the controls.
Okay. Go ahead and do you want to make room for Brian here, or
Brian.
you can scooch by me right here.
This looks great on camera.
I am uncomfortably close to the microphone. All right.
Hello, everyone.
It's Brian.
Keeping our voices down.
Oh yeah, that's right. Sorry, we're talking. We got Brian uncomfortably cut off by the camera. So
Can I just find a way to only 2/3 exist?
That's a little bit better.
That's fine.
Now you're double.
I have to not lean in, which is hard for me. I always do.
We got dual Brian action going on. I have just ruined this. It's just the worst now.
This is hilarious enough.
I love that there's a whole. You guys who are actually playing the game are sharing a camera, and I'm over here building a robot, not looking up, not interacting.
Get a little title. It just says robot cam right there.
Okay, so my company name is Chronatosis. And my chief executive officer is.
I usually go
Taylor Star.
Does it matter?
You have to just no. It's purely aesthetic.
Oh, okay.
I usually
Must
pick
be
somebody that looks
Sasha?
like a Bond villain, and then pick a company name that sounds like Umbrella.
No, I'm gonna pick female Indiana Jones.
Sure. That seems fine. Okay, so have we done literally nothing?
Literally nothing. We're starting from scratch.
Step 1, hit pause.
Okay, where's pause?
I think it's also space. The pause button. He changed the UI since I last played this.
Huh.
Fun.
Early access games will do that.
I guess they do. So this is Big Pharma. This is not unlike Prison Architect, a game that by its mechanics will cause you to evaluate the way certain real-life economy things work, and ideally get you to go, huh, maybe that's why this happens in the real world. Separately from that, and also like Prison Architect, it's also really fun if you like efficiency and maximization and numbers and profit margins and all that fun stuff.
Is there any rotation or anything like that?
There isn't, and it's not as important as you might think. Or if there is, I never needed to use it. So at a most basic level, those little widgets that look like computer monitors in the back in the middle of the field that you can click on, those are sockets. They can either import ingredients or spit out ingredients. You will start with a small amount of ingredients that are available to you, and you can send explorers into the world to find more.
Oh, fancy.
And all of the names are dynamically generated, which is how you get stuff like rubberized, delicate crystal, and desiccated Django-Stein quartz. These names are amazing. You can see a bunch of information there.
Quartz.
Don't worry about it.
So
On the fun track.
prompts sleepiness, removes warts.
So each thing comes in at a certain concentration. Do you see that little blue tab with a number on it and a little beaker symbol right there?
Wait.
That one is, your brightness is a little high. That one's 18.
Calvin is calling out favoritism, and he's 100% correct.
Chronatosis had spoken 8 times in a row. That's why Chronatosis got in.
Do you want to reward the loudest?
Do you want to live in a world where we reward the loudest? I do. I think the two of us would probably control such a world.
I would do fine.
I can vote against my own best interest on this one.
Okay.
In the interest of collective happiness.
All right. Anyway, so what do we? Okay.
Terrible.
So we can
Right.
import stuff.
So-
how do I know what I want to do with it?
So, see that little, that little number up there about the concentration?
18%?
That's telling you when this, or not 18%, it's just, it's a
18.
magic number.
18 beakers.
Let us assume that as that number goes up, the thing is more concentrated, and as it goes down, it's less concentrated.
Okay.
And every ingredient comes in at a starting concentration. And as you shift the concentration, good and bad things will come in and out of existence, and increase and decrease in effectiveness.
Oh, I see. Okay, so as the concentration goes down, it'll start removing warts, and if it
you
goes
keep
further
going
down,
it'll
it'll
also
start
prompt sleepiness.
make people sleepy. Oh, interesting.
Right.
So this, if I can make it less concentrated, it'll treat diabetes.
If you make
But
it more concentrated, it'll
be
inflame skin.
Okay, gotcha. That's
fun.
interesting.
There's also an invisible efficiency number on each of those different amounts of, it's dilution in real life. I forget the word we just used for it. You have to...
Concentration.
Thank you, concentration. We have to research a device which will allow you to
Is this game
feed...
about homeopathy?
No. It's more about
This looks like a homeopathic remedy, honestly, because as we get less concentrated, it gets more powerful.
Yeah, this is a game that's more about deciding to let side effects continue to be on your drugs, because if you don't do that, you can't compete in the marketplace. And so the world either allows you to be profitable and make drugs that are a little flawed, or make perfect drugs and run less profit, and if you're a publicly traded company, get fired. That last bit isn't represented in the game, but that's kind of what they're implying.
That's pretty. So, and that's the reason I was interested in this game, really, is because it's sort of it makes a statement not by just coming out and making a statement, but by giving you incentives that make you understand the motivations of other people. Either to understand you can do that to help you understand and empathize with someone better, or you can do it to make someone realize that a system is intrinsically going to drive people towards bad stuff.
There.
Yeah.
So, and granted, there are paths to success in this game that are not make the most cheapest drugs. That's just the one that will maybe be easiest to do. And if you want to succeed on quality, it's a lot harder.
Okay.
Which is another very realistic system that is kind of screwed up, but not always screwed up, but tends to be screwed up because of people are being people.
All right, so let's figure out. So how do we play this?
Let's import the remove warts one because I feel like it. There's more reasons why you would or would not import stuff later. So if we click on the little ingredient image right there,
this right here,
that should tell you. So, all right, so we're at an 18. It'll start removing warts if we get it down 2 notches. In this game, you can decrease the concentration with an evaporator or increase it with a dissolver.
Okay.
So I believe you're gonna want 2 dissolvers to get the concentration from 18 to 16.
Down into wart zone without getting into sleepiness zone.
Right, so if you hit basic.
Basic.
And then I think it's dissolver decreases concentration.
So that's what we want, right?
So you see the green arrow and the red arrow.
Yes.
You can now use E. It's E. E will now spin this thing around. Another fun little very gamey part of this game is solving your space to have the most machines to make the most money on the right drugs. So it's kind of a multivariate problem. You can actually tuck it in that corner there. That's probably...
Like this? Is that what you want to do?
You can actually do that in this case.
Okay.
So let's do that, and then you're going to do one more of those immediately to the top right of it, right there.
Do we want it to be feeding into each other in a weird way?
No, you actually have to have conveyor belts connecting them, and so the first thing you had where they were perfectly lined up in exactly the same position is probably optimal.
Okay.
So we're going to need 2 dissolvers, and that's going to get the object to have the right concentration to have the desired effect. Now you're also going to need a maker.
Oh, a maker.
Maker's going to put it into a format that allows you to sell it. The first one is a printer, and then this scenario has a tech tree that goes to the creamer. A creamer will allow you to make
ice cream.
More like Vaseline.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Different kind of cream, I guess. The creamer will reduce the impact of any side effects by 50%.
Okay.
So at this phase of the game, it's almost objectively better, but you can upgrade your pill printer to be slightly more profitable. The pill printer operates every 2 cycles. The factory in this game operates on does a tick process. So every tick brings in a new ingredient from one of these, and every tick allows a maximum of one thing to be fed in to the socket
output
to sell. One of the facilities you can build is called a packer, which will actually take 3 different pills from the same conveyor belt, pack them in a box, and then push that one down another conveyor belt, and so you can have a super efficient factory that only needs 1 export socket to spit out 3 import sockets worth of stuff.
Wow,
there's a lot of, and this is at the relatively simple level. This game has a lot of engineering-y optimizing.
So let's lay this out. So should I put that here?
You're going to want 2 of them, and you're going to want them to come back down towards this thing for now, because we're just going to build the world's simplest drug. So we want to tuck them
I have a question
in this
for Brian.
range. Yes.
Why would I play this when I can cut bullets in half with katanas in other games?
You can play this for a lot longer than you will still enjoy cutting bullets in half with katanas.
I don't know.
For certain values of player. My wife
How many
play
katanas
this for
are
4
in this
months.
game?
I believe there are 0 katanas. So you're actually going to need 2 of those in parallel.
That sucks.
I said that whole tick thing because pill printers only operate every 2 ticks.
Oh, so I'm not trying to thread it through both. I'm trying to...
You're going to have to pull it up here. I'll explain why in a second. Just like that one.
Like that?
Yep. So now we're going to go to the actual conveyor belt. We now have all the machines we need to make our first product. Do that. That's going to take the first ingredient and push it into the first dissolver. So you actually want to click and drag when you're doing connections between 2 points, because otherwise you have wasteful bits.
And then, do I need to get rid of that somehow?
You can right-click it and then left-click it. One of the things that is annoying about this game is that there's a cost to conveyor belts, but sometimes it represents more of a UX difference and not an actual interesting mechanical difference. So occasionally you can just screw yourself up money-wise and not be able to realign your machines and be screwed.
So is that what I wanted to do?
Yes. So now we're
it's going to automatically alternate pills or something?
Yep, it's going to actually intelligently and it'll make more sense when you see it live. Next we're going to connect the 2 red outputs on those pill printers because we want them going to the same spot. And then we're going to click that pill printer and drag all the way to the export slot. So now you actually
How do I know that's the export slot?
because
I didn't pick an import for it?
Yeah, if you didn't assign an import and then you have stuff going into it, that makes it an export slot.
Okay,
You can also see the see this kind of little arrow chevron-y thing going on in the conveyor belt
Yes.
that actually tells you the direction it's going.
Okay, cool. And it shows green on ones that are actually connected and working that will pass a pill all the way through.
You can actually change the color of those if you want to just denote which one belongs to which line, which is a useful organizational tool later.
Gotcha.
Ian, you have a question from Creditosis.
Yes.
Let's see. So Jeffrey, you can kind of just hit go.
Okay.
To start, we'll hit the regular play button, not fast forward or very fast forward. And now let's just watch what happens.
Okay, so
I'm going to answer Chronotosis' question. One, the most useful tool is to buy a decent pair of side cutters, nippers. These ones are Gundam Planet. There's a whole bunch of different things. They don't need to be crazy expensive. There's stuff out there like the God Hand nippers, which they can't keep in production, so they wind up going on the secondary market for like $100. That's insane.
The fact that there's a product called God Hand nippers in the world, I'm blown away.
Yeah, don't buy anything insane like that.
Click
But
on that. Popped up.
a decent pair of nippers,
Oh.
and it doesn't make it better. It just makes it a lot quicker. You get much smaller nubs. So I usually do a cut with a little bit of plastic, a second cut because that tends to stress the plastic a little bit less and you get less white. And then I just use a Tamiya file to file it down. I actually have some sanding sticks on the way to do some kits where I want to be a little bit more precise. Filing with a file will almost always leave some scratches around what you're doing. It's not that noticeable up on a shelf, and if you're going to paint, it's not noticeable at all because you're going to paint over it. But a lot of it depends on what kind of effect you want. But yeah, good nippers makes all of this stuff
Watch the red and the green.
quicker.
Oh yeah. So each ingredient that comes in gives me costs me 35. Each drug that goes out gains me 137.
Yep, and you can actually click on the pill at the very end, that it'll show you the full breakdown. So it's raw material costs 34, processing costs 40. And then your final profit,
these are costing
remember,
money too.
You're actually
Right.
every time money is spent running a machine, you can actually see the expenditure pop up above the object.
I can see that now. Yeah.
So first you're spending this, and then this, and then this, and then this, and then this. I need like a laser pointer that people can see or something.
yeah.
I do a lot of pointing at a screen nobody can pay attention to. So the pill printers you can see are running every second tick. You'll notice how it's only feeding one at a time because each one takes 2 ticks to complete its action and then spit something out. But the conveyor belts that we set up automatically keep this all going pretty much right.
So it just told me that a competitor has just come up with a new product.
Yep, so you can pause really quick. And then in the top left corner, there's a picture of a face of one of your competitors.
Oh, who's this guy?
Let's see. Whizbang Developments has released Whizbang Flake No More, which probably helps with something that involves flakes.
So it's nothing to do with my drug. No one's. Are we not really competing? Because
You are, but the competition is specifically not going to be a huge impediment at this difficulty level. Later in the game, everybody is playing. You'll get like 4 companies playing with the same set of starting ingredients, so they have the same opportunities that you do to create smart things. And so very quickly, you'll see the market for a certain drug get consumed. Yeah, so he's got a thing that soothes rash. You've got a thing that does warts.
Okay, cool.
Removes warts, and those don't compete right now. If you click on cures, so this will give us some information about A, what solutions we will be able to build in this game to what medical problems. B, what things those can be upgraded to. You'll notice that...
I can upgrade remove warts to female contraceptive?
Turns out! Thanks,
Great!
Thanks, science! This is not real science. Do not get this confused with real science. This
There's
is
a lot of weird real science where a drug gets passed for one thing, and then we go, oh, this side effect.
Is
Minoxidil, most known as Rogaine with, was passed to the FDA as a blood pressure med. It's just,
I'm pretty sure that Viagra was too, wasn't it?
Viagra was also a blood
Viagra
pressure
started
med.
that way, I think.
Yeah. They realized that there were side effects.
Yeah, which are far more profitable. Which is exactly how this can sometimes work. So these are randomly generated, I believe, but actually they might be consistent. I think diabetes always turns into cures hyperthyroidism.
I love that removes warts is under sexual health.
That's the kind of warts,
We're talking about.
Now,
Okay,
now
gotcha.
we know that. We didn't know that before.
That makes sense.
So I'll talk about what this screen means in a little bit. The thing that I wanted to talk about in respect to competition, if we shrink our goal with this little arrow over here, so currently 0% of the demand is met for diabetes.
Okay.
There's roughly 120 patients in the world that are actively consuming it. 14 people have been cured. So I think that's 15,046 potential buyers exist. 120 are currently looking to buy, and 14 people have been cured.
Okay.
And so as other people sell cures to the same things that you're selling, it'll actually decrease the value of the product because demand will get met.
Gotcha.
That's a late game-ish thing. We don't really have to worry about that right now. We can look into upgrades for stuff. In the short term, you got $45,000. Why don't we zoom out a little bit? Because you can actually buy more factory space.
Oh, okay.
And we made a point to build like the simplest possible thing with our first pill. It's 2 machines and then processing, which is almost as simple as it gets. Why don't we buy the next one right there? And now we can make something a little more intricate.
Okay.
So you can also go to ingredients.
I want to interrupt Brian for a second to respond to Chronatosis again and say, no problem. I'm always happy
Should I make the other one?
to answer questions about this kind of stuff. And file-wise, like,
Do this.
you can find some 400 grit sandpaper. You can go to the drugstore and then, like, find a metal nail file. There's a ton of things that you can use. My biggest tip on filing is that you need so much less pressure than you think you do. Like, you really just rest it
We're good
and,
here?
and swipe,
he's just
swipe,
using some
swipe,
time
swipe, and
getting
it'll
that
come
thing
right
on
off.
research?
If you start putting pressure on it, you'll lose plastic a lot faster than you think.
So hire a scientist.
Back to you guys.
Cool. So what we were doing is we hired an explorer and then sent them out into the wilds to go bring back a new ingredient for us to use in future medication. We're now hiring some scientists who can research new machines, new processing formats, and some perks. One of the more fun late game ones you can get is regulatory connections, which just increases the value of your drugs by a lot. Because they are basically you're paying for better FDA ratings.
Interesting.
Because video games can sometimes use mechanics to teach people things. So you have 3 things available as an upgrade, and you have a couple things available as potential research. Why don't we research... Actually, let's go back to the cures for a second. Let's figure out which machine we're going to need to make upgrades. So so both of these need ionizers. An ionizer is like a dissolver, except it does 3 units instead of 1 per use, and it costs slightly more than 3 dissolvers would. But it's way faster in terms of, it uses a lot less factory space. In certain cases, especially with evolving one effect into another, you specifically need a drug to be at a certain concentration and then to hit a specific machine, and that will actually warp this effect into this effect. So you'll start with the removes warts effect. You'll get the concentration between 13 and 15. You'll run it through an ionizer, and that effect will get replaced with female contraceptive, which has a different set of required concentrations at which it is effective.
So then we need to mess with the concentration again?
To get it all the way back down to where it needs to be, and then you can sell it. But it's worth 3 times as much, so it's probably worth the effort.
So we want to do the ionizer.
For now, we'll do an ionizer.
All right.
Cool. So you've got somebody doing some exploring to get you new ingredients. You've got research happening on a new machine.
So we can probably should we make a diabetes one?
Let's make something. So let's go to the far away one. So scroll up and we can look at So right now we only have the 2.
So I'm going to start with the quartz and step it back once to make the diabetes med.
Yeah. It's there's not a lot of interesting decisions to make right now. You just have that and the other one. Because you can do it cheaply, you may as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so just to see if I remember how to do this. Basic stuff includes the dissolver.
Yes.
That's what I'm going to want to. So basically, I just send it in, and then I got to pack it into a pill, right?
Yes.
And I want 2 pill packers because
they take 2 cycles each.
Okay.
Yeah, you want to be able to spit out 1 pill per turn per input slot.
Okay. So we'll do that.
Makers is where the pill.
Oh yeah, that's right. Makers. Pill printer, and so it'll come.
That would work.
With this, yeah, I guess it's
Just remember that you have to save tiles between objects so that you can place belts, and that nothing can connect without belts.
Okay, so I think this will work.
There. Yep, and then that can go to those 2, and then drag 1 more, and then connect them to each other, and to the export, and that should do it. Now just make sure to actually import the material.
Oh, right. How is that done?
Click on it, and then click on import on that thing.
All right. So now I run it through?
Yeah.
I've lost track of the map.
So now that we're playing the actual game, you can make it go incredibly fast because passing time is sometimes the thing you need to do. Once you play this game for more than 5 hours, this is basically the only way you ever play it, is you just watch stuff. Pause real fast because your factory is still going.
Chronatosis, diabetes decreaser. We should call this one Calvin 149.
I don't think anybody's going to buy a product called that. It doesn't sound like something you...
I don't know. Comic strip enthusiasts would love that.
What did you name it?
Calvin 149.
Sounds like a movie.
Yeah, it's that person.
I understand that.
Okay, good. Anyway.
No, I see you there, Calvin.
Okay,
So now we've got 2 lines. You'll also notice you have a lot of factory space that's not being used.
Yes, what should I be using it for?
So you need to finish your research to unlock the ability to really leverage that.
Okay.
Otherwise, if you really wanted to, you could just buy a ton more factory space and make a ton of little one-off lines like this, all spitting out this. You could even make slightly different concentration versions of each, which will bear out slightly different effectivenesses, which, here's a good thing we should do next.
Yes.
Let's go to the company page, bottom right. So here we can see what stuff we're currently selling and learn more about how our products are doing.
Okay.
So on the left, you'll see you have 2 things in your spreadsheet. You have Decent Paranippers and Calvin 149 are your 2 products.
Yes.
Decent Paranippers is currently rated at C+. This is actually based on simulating the effectiveness of the thing you made against people based on exactly the concentration and effects that you had when you sold it. And so you can even hover over it and it'll tell you this many people have had a good thing.
How many warts are removed?
Or blood sugar levels restored. If your cure rating goes above a C, you get a bonus to the product value, which effectively means you can increase the price, which will make it more profitable. The thing that matters the most about this is the actual current profit column. It's possible to make an incredibly valuable drug, but spend so much money making it that there's no profit left.
Yeah.
New ingredient discovered.
Zarnathium.
New ingredient discovered.
Cool.
Research complete.
Quickly going to respond to a person. You should probably pause. Zarnathium, I'm playing Stardew Valley right now. I will talk to Jeffrey about it some other time after I play more of it. Maybe it's worth looking into. We do have some guys in the office that have played Factorio as well. But I don't know that either of these necessarily show well. They're kind of time-consuming, but maybe.
Yeah, if you get super into it, I'd love to. Yeah, but basically, whatever game you get super into, I'd love to show on here.
Sure.
This game doesn't show very well, as we've learned, but it's fine. I mean, I'm certainly fascinated by what we're doing here.
It's once you get over the hump, it gets to be a lot more interesting. But you've got to get some more stuff to show up.
So we've got an unrefined metallaceous crystal,
which is an antidepressant, but also might cause constipation if you screw up.
Awesome. So let's go a little bit higher.
Causing constipation is a cure if there's like a diarrhea.
For problems, diarrhea.
For video game's sake, I think they treated those 2 things as separate, even though you are quite correct.
So we want to step it up twice to make it be effective.
Right.
So should I just buy more factory space again?
Well, before we do that, did we finish researching the ionizer?
We did finish researching
So we
the
can make
ionizer.
something way cooler than our previous thing, now that we have that. You can also take that guy, and you should probably have them make the agglomerator, which does the opposite of the ionizer. It increases concentration by 3.
Okay.
So let's go back to actually go to your ingredients tab, and let's also make sure we've got some exploration going. It is just here and further down.
Sting Weevil.
Go one to the left.
Spotted Nipplewort. Yes.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Go ahead and
obviously we need Nipplewort.
I thought your company was.
I think we're in the business of curing Nipplewort, aren't we? Okay.
Okay. So let's go up a little bit. We have a lot of factory space, but you also need more export slots. Oh, thanks for coming, Darkflame.
Oh yeah. Hi.
So why don't we buy that slot just to get the import and export slots, and then we're probably going to use much more of the factory space that we've been sort of dawdling on.
Okay. So are we going to try to make one of the fancy things?
We're going to make an evolve thing.
Okay.
So let's click on the export slot all the way on one of the edges.
This one right here.
Sure. Let's do that, and now. Oh, that took us this way. Scroll up a little bit. I'm trying to remember if it shows you what you can evolve into here. It does. Okay, so if you mouse over the effect, it'll actually tell you how to evolve it. So.
So should I do one of my existing ones? Like
probably.
Let's do the genital wart
just
one.
Really quickly, mouse over antidepressant. You'll see how it up a little bit on the mouse. There we go.
Oh, there.
See how it says prerequisites: green thing with 2 dots, plus a concentration of 7 to 11, plus a dissolver. We'll get to that.
Okay.
As a small teaser towards the future, in addition to requiring a certain concentration in machine, you also may need to have other specific effects on the drug to allow it to upgrade, which you can get by mixing drugs to mix their effects up.
Okay,
we're not going to do that yet, but for now we'll just do a simple upgrade. So that thing comes in at an 18, and you can evolve it at a 15. The quartz, let's look at really quick in the diabetes, comes in at a 6 and can be evolved at a 10. Also hyperthyroidism.
Where are you seeing this 10?
So it's coming, see that where it says prerequisites 10 to 12?
Yeah.
That means that if you get the concentration to a number that is 10, 11, or 12, and then hit it with an ionizer, it'll upgrade the effect.
Okay, so this one is 13 to 15, and where is it now? This is 11 to 16. Okay, so I need to get
it's currently an 18. Remember, this
it's
reporting it at.
So I need to get it down into 50, so I need to get 3 down instead of the 2 down we've been doing to get it into the wart range.
And then hit it with an ionizer.
Okay.
So let's just start with that.
Okay, so 3 down, and then hit it with an ionizer.
Yes.
Okay, so
Now you could use 3 dissolvers for that, which is going to be more cost effective, or just hit it with an ionizer first and then one more ionizer.
Oh, that's right, because it goes down by 3 with the ionizer.
Right. Now that being said, the process cost is 35 for an ionizer. The process
And
cost is
10.
10 for a dissolver.
So it is actually cheaper to
it's
do.
more efficient to use up more of your factory, but that's another resource that you'll eventually start to run low on.
Okay, so let's-
for now, let's cram this into the edges of the screen. This is my personal process, is to try
Yeah.
and stay around the edges and work your way back in.
So we'll do this 3 times,
Yep.
and then hit it with the ionizer.
Yes.
Ionizer.
There. And then rotate that around because you're going to want the red arrow to go into the green arrow.
There. Like,
You don't want that because remember that column is going to have the conveyor belts going back and forth between the dissolvers. That will work.
you always have to loop back around into
Yeah.
the pills.
Yep. Which we can do.
Okay.
So then you're going to want to do.
The
so
two-
we're not actually done yet because
Oh.
the concentration may need to change once you ionize it, but we can't know what it requires until we've made one. So typically when I'm playing, what I'll actually do here is put one belt on the other end of that ionizer, and then backwards hook up all the stuff correctly, and then let it run that far to see your ingredient and see what it requires. And then just make sure we're.
So it's like we're doing R&D, but just right here in the factory.
In this case, yeah.
Okay.
So click on the import slot. All the
Oh,
way
right.
top
We haven't actually decided what it's doing.
And make sure
yet,
it's
have
going to bring in. I think we settled on remove warts.
Yes.
So yep, so import that. And now just make it fast forward as much as possible and wait to see what comes out the other side of the ionizer. Once we get at least one thing, we can pause, and then we'll take a look. So there it is. So
There,
pause
okay.
that. So click on that thing. So that's currently acerine sap.
And I need to take it down
Quite
by
a bit. So you're at 12.
two more steps with an ionizer. Looks like
You could do 2 ionizers. You could also do like 5 dissolvers if you wanted to.
6. Yeah, I think 6 devote.
But remember, 6 dissolvers versus 2 ionizers saves $10 a pill.
That's true.
And you have a bunch more factory space than you probably need. So a
So-
nice bank 06 dissolvers might do it.
Well, let's do it then. So,
Sure. So dissolvers also chain really nicely. So if you actually have that go straight into one on this side, rotate it that way. Yeah,
Like
just
that?
like that. And then just go all the way to the wall like that.
Oh, okay.
Or your short ones, you can rotate at that point. Rotate. Sorry, so you've got 4, and I think we needed,
We needed
6.
6, I think. Yeah.
So we can do that.
And I'm wasting a ton of space in here, but whatever.
So you start to understand
I'm not
that one
gonna
of the
play-
things you'll do in this game is look at your layout and really try to think about how you can cram the most profitable drug making into the least space.
Yeah. Okay, and then we're gonna need the 2
Pill
makers,
printers.
2 pill printers.
We'll get to creamers and stuff later, but for now, pill printers are fine.
Yeah, and I don't think we're going to get into them later because we're going to stop playing the game pretty soon.
That'll actually work, and then you can hook those right back around to the export slot that's next to them. Just like that, and then you can connect that to there.
So
And then
one guy
run it.
made this. This is pretty
I think so.
slick and clever.
Yeah, he put a lot of time into it. I don't know enough about that particular developer or his resources. I imagine he contracted a bunch of help for art and stuff, but based on the website I looked at a while ago, it sounds like this was mostly one person wanted this game to exist and made it.
Wow.
Kudos. You made a cool, good thing that has a lot of fun in it and makes a point. And it's hard to do either of those. Doing both is incredibly noteworthy. So pause for a second. You have to name your pill before you can sell it. Let's see what it is and if it works. So we nailed it. It's a
Chronatosis Pregbuster. Chronatosis Pregbuster. I kind of want to.
let's just get away from that one as fast as humanly possible because it's randomly generated unless we're not to blame.
Depreggers.
Okay, Jeffrey. Okay. And then just run that. And you can also see your total cash that you have right now.
So we spent a lot to get here. We spent half our money to get where we
But
are.
now hit play, and then let's just see what the incomes look like. Because this is just showing you at any given tick.
Oh
what
yeah.
your income
Oh
was.
yeah. I'm
And then
going
look at
way
how much
up.
money you're actually making on those pills. Like you're selling them for
Each one, yeah, is much more than before.
click
But
on the pill itself. Right, so you're actually making $80 of profit per pill for all that work.
which was pretty much exactly what we were at one point making with this
And
one.
it's
Yeah,
literally the same thing. So you're doing all that extra work to make a more complex cure, and you're making no additional profit for it.
But I'm filling 2 different needs,
Market,
which
which
is
is
probably
correct.
yeah. So I'm diversified. That helps.
Yep. Also, if you upgrade your dissolvers, they will actually get more cost-effective to run. And because you used like 12 of them in this design, a tiny upgrade to dissolver efficiency can mean like a 10 to 12% profit increase on that pill.
Ah, okay, that's
So
cool.
if you go over to research, I'll talk about upgrades now. This is a good time to do it.
yes.
You have a research tab.
Oh, Chrontos has pointed out that decent paranippers was for nipple warts, and we hadn't even been thinking about that. Anyway, okay,
fantastic.
we're running low on time, so let's figure out what the last couple things we're going to do are.
Go to research really quick. So another thing you can do besides researching new tools, Oh, that guy just finished. Perfect. You'll see the upgrade stuff here. See that little 0 with the lightning bulb?
Yes.
So if you have unassigned scientists, they're gonna wow, good timing. They're gonna generate research points like that.
Nice.
So we just checked and we saw that our new pill is making $79 a pill. Let's click upgrade on the dissolver to spend our 1 current research point to reduce the dissolver process cost from 10 to 9.
10 to 9.
Which we just did. If you wanted to do it again, you would require 2 research points.
So now we look at our company and we look at our products.
Right, so that is now making it $83.
83, and it's going up.
Actually,
as
each
pills are going
dissolver
through.
that was upgraded is used, this thing updates in real time based on the current calculation. So it looks like it should settle in at like 70 or 84, 85. Oh, it's also increasing in value, I guess. So yeah, that dissolver upgrade just made those pills dramatically more profitable than your previous entries because now your dissolvers are very effective. So if you're
there was just a world event. What does that mean?
You can pause it, and then the top left is your sort of event log.
Oh, so ingredient discovered.
Competitor shipping a new product, and then that usually will do something to market demand.
Explosive grain silos. Due to unseasonably hot weather, grain silos are exploding on farms across the country. This is agitating asthma sufferers and causing an increasing coughs among surrounding populace.
Before you click OK, notice the green and the blue text there. Coughs are a tier 1 thing you can make. Blue is a tier 2 thing you can make. Coughs and asthma are specific things you can make. So right now, demand for cough medicine and asthma medicine will increase.
So I can look at ingredients.
Have any of those?
Yeah. So we got Sue's rash right here. So we don't. Do we know in advance what any of these things are going to do?
We don't, but remember
like
how I talked about upgrades? Oh yeah, this will tell you the category it'll apply to. It won't tell you what side effects will be there.
Infection.
And you have to research new expedition types. You can
gotcha.
even send people on those.
But there's a chance a world event could show me something that I can see. Oh, I can do that. I just haven't done it yet. Let's go capitalize on this opportunity.
Yep. But now, granted, you could just always be chasing that, which also means you're never hardening and you're never making your stuff more efficient. And so there's a lot of actual decisions you have to make that resemble real life business decisions.
Wow.
Do I specialize in one niche? Do I go broad? Do I make really high quality stuff? Do I make a mass amount of low quality stuff? Do I have a brand identity? What markets?
Or do I just jump around opportunistically?
And sometimes you can do that, but if that's what everybody thinks is the smart answer, then it probably means there's a lot of people doing it.
Yeah.
And so you sort of get to pick from there.
Cool. Well, we're about out of time, but thanks for showing us this game, Brian. And, I want to check this out a bunch more just later on in my own time.
It's worth checking out.
I feel like I understand it way better from this experience than I ever would have by reading the tutorial text.
I was going to say, for a one-man project, the tutorial is very, very... It is sufficiently good enough to get people into the game, which is great. But it's an opportunity to get more people into it if they were to take time to improve it. But I completely understand not allocating your time there based on the fact that it's a guy.
Yeah, exactly.
That's crazy.
Ian, were you going to say something real quick?
Oh, I was just going to say, I feel like this video definitely at this point lets people know whether or not this is the game for them.
Yeah,
you should either be really excited or really not excited.
When Brian talked about, it's this opportunity cost thing where you decide between continuing to investigate new things or improving the efficiency of what you have. Like, that either made you go, yes! Or it made you go, no.
So, we are planning to play a very different game. Tomorrow we're going to be playing Devil Daggers, which is pretty much the opposite.
Very different game.
It's the opposite of Big Pharma. Anybody who felt like this was a little bit slow, feel free to come and join us for Devil Daggers.
Very not slow.
Because it's not slow. I have not played it yet, but I've heard things about it. So come back for that tomorrow, and thank you for being here. I got meetings to run off to, so we will make that happen.
Awkward sign off.
Thanks, Brian.
How's it going?